सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So Hare Krishna Vaishnavis, I hope you're having a good beginning of the week. And it's wonderful to see you all, 10 beautiful souls. And I'm happy to be presenting today's topic where we will be discussing the connection between Arjuna's emotional turmoil and leadership. So we all face turmoils, emotional turmoil in our life, and we all have certain leadership positions in our life. We are leading our families, we may be leading our students, we may be leading a community, and in different positions of leadership. So today we'll be taking a look at the perspective of how Krishna's ability to be there for Arjuna is the same as Krishna's ability to be there for us. Krishna is incapable of one thing, and Krishna is incapable of rejecting us. And so Arjuna's emotional turmoil actually caused him a great opportunity of transformation. And it actually helped, it was a turning point in Arjuna's life. Turning point in Arjuna's life when he experienced that breakdown, emotional breakdown, it gave him a completely different perspective on how to lead. So sometimes we look at emotional breakdown or emotional turmoil as a negative thing, but actually this can be the greatest blessing in our life because it helps us transform our leadership. It helps us look at leadership from a completely different perspective. So today we're going to be seeing, I would like you to do this exercise on your own. In the Mahabharata, which character do you identify the most with? Okay, usually we all say Arjuna, but there are other characters. There is Bhishma, there is Yudhishthir Maharaj, there is Nakul, there is Sahadev, there is Bhishma, there is Drona, both within us. It's not only Arjuna's side, we also have the Duryodhana side. But I want you to take a look at this perspective of leadership. What kind of leadership do you take? What kind of skill set, what kind of attitudes do you easily, naturally implement? And how much of that resonates or connects with Arjuna's? Okay, now, when we all have a certain degree of experience in how different emotionally immature leaders, what kind of effects they cause in our community. We may have had experience with people who are emotionally mature and how their leadership has affected us, and we may have experience also with people who are not emotionally mature and how their dealings have affected us. Both those scenarios. So let's take a moment. You can write this down on a piece of paper, or you can also write it in the chat box for more dynamic discussions on this topic. Write down what character of Mahabharata do you identify the most, as much as you know, where your leadership qualities are related to, or the way the character reacts. Okay, when we are called upon at a crisis situation, when we're called upon in a challenging circumstance, what are the character? What is the character that comes to your mind that you would react like? Okay, just let's type it in the chat box. I see Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol Neha, Hari Bol Rajshri, Madhavi, Kushbu. I think that's Trisandhya, Haribo. So let's just write in the chat box. Who do we relate the most to? I mean, it doesn't have to be one. Sometimes we are reacting not just like one person, but we also have other characters. I'm not sure. Okay. Come on, girls. Think about it. Draupadi. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Definitely. That's a beautiful point. What Kunjeshwari is saying. Draupadi called for everyone when she was in danger. Duryodhan tried to take her clothes, but when she saw nobody will help her, she called out to Krishna, and he came to help her. So Krishna always helps me when I'm in danger and no one else is there. Not sure if that answers the question, but I would like to develop the quality of surrender. Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful example of Draupadi who called out to Krishna and demonstrated surrender. I mean, we all have some moments where we have surrendered. So yeah, we can relate to that. And yeah, maybe I could say this is Rajshri says both Krishna and Yudhishthir Maharaj. Krishna, that's a good perspective. I never thought that was an option, but yeah, thank you. And I would say Yudhishthir because I'm always like trying to think of what is the right thing to do, what's righteous, and sometimes I'm thinking of this example when Krishna when he was asked when Yudhishthira Maharaj was asked to say that Ashwatthama hataha kunjaraha, the elephant Ashwatthama is dead, and he was really afraid to lie because he was told to not say the word elephant too loud and to make the Kauravas believe that Ashwatthama is dead. That's what we want them to hear. We don't want them to hear the kunjaraha. We don't want them to hear elephant. But then Yudhishthir couldn't do it. So he had to say, Ashwatthama hata kunjara. He whispered kunjaraha. So sometimes I react like that. Like I don't want to lie, but I also don't have the strength to be completely courageous because of the circumstances. So I choose like the middle ground. So that's why I said Yudhishthir. So we could all have different reasons why we would choose a specific character, or why we would. I mean, we all have baggage, conditioning, our past that we carry that makes us react to triggers in a specific way. So Krishna and Arjuna in that battlefield, even though Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was with Arjuna, Arjuna had his baggage, Arjuna had his conditioning, Arjuna had his relationships, Arjuna had his own emotional growth, ups and downs. So even in the presence, physical presence of Krishna, Arjuna had to face his demons. So similarly, we all will be faced with our baggage as well. And Krishna is always there for us in an equal way, but it depends on our capacity to take that help. So today, this is my question to all of you. When emotionally disturbing situation comes and you're supposed to lead, it could be with your children, maybe it is parenting, because many of you have some experience with parenting as a, okay, there is Neha. Neha also says maybe Dhritarashtra in the sense that so much attached to his desire and that can't look beyond it. And some point of time to Arjuna where it's not clear what to do when emotional breakdown happens and wants to run away. And maybe to Yudhishthira Maharaj that wants to do the right things. Exactly, Neha, exactly. That was kind of a answer that I was looking for, how in different situations, when different triggers come, we act like different people and we access qualities and abilities and skills to deal with challenges according to what is being triggered in us, right? Sometimes when it's righteousness or justice, that's triggering us, then we may act like Yudhishthir. And then when our vulnerabilities are triggered, then we may act like Arjuna, right? So that's there. Okay, Rajashri says, okay, Rajashri, it's a direct message about where she is and she's in a bus like that. That's okay. Yeah, I mean, anything you want to share at this point, because this is a point we change the topic now. But if you have any questions or comments, this is a time to discuss. How is this topic resonating with you? I'm assuming that those of you who are putting the message in the chat box, you're not in a position to unmute and speak, but the meeting, the nature of the meeting is such that you can unmute and just speak it. So you don't have to chat, you don't have to type it in the chat box.
I think the word leadership kind of throws me a bit.
Okay.
I don't really see myself in any, besides being a parent, I don't really see myself in any leadership. Yeah.
How would you define the word leadership?
Guidance, somebody who guides or takes responsibility. And it feels like a responsibility of a lot of people rather than one person.
Okay, a lot of people, responsibility. I can relate to that. I also have difficulty in accepting that I'm a leader. So it's a difficult word because our definitions of what means to lead can differ person to person.
And to be really truthful, it seems like very much a male sort of word. So, you know, like you've just said, the mothers. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. Mothers are leaders, but it feels like it's very male oriented.
Yeah, okay. That's a very relevant comment at this point when we are changing to the next phase of this talk today, where Arjuna did consider himself incapable of leading. He was like, what kind of leadership? What kind of leadership is it that if I'm going to just kill everybody and all these people are going to die and their wives are going to become widows? And is that the kind of leadership I want to take part in? And I'm going to like, what? Literally, he said, literally, I have to get my hands stained with blood. And for the pleasure of victory, kingdom, is that the kind of leadership that I want? And so on and so forth. So for Arjuna, the dilemma of killing kinsmen, killing his
Sorry, we can't hear you properly. Yeah, you can hear you now, but the last bit we didn't hear. Arjuna's dilemma.
Yeah, Arjuna's dilemma was getting his hands bloody with blood of his relatives and his cousins and his teacher and his military teacher and his grandfather. Okay, it was leadership.
No, it's no good now. I don't know if did you move?
Okay. No, I didn't.
Oh, I don't know. It's not coming through. Oh, she's gone. Just hold on in there. She's having problems with her internet. Not that good.
Okay, is it better now?
Yeah,
I'm gonna try
that's
without
fine.
video. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, this is fine.
All right. So yeah. So the at this point is what does it mean leadership to us, and engaging in certain activities or duties that is in front of us, does it make us a good leader, or is it going to make us like the exact opposite, which Arjuna's situation was? actually felt like he was such a failure to stand at the position of becoming a leader by killing his own people. So similarly, we might also think, oh, what kind of a leader I am? What kind of a parent am I? What kind of a wife am I? See, even being
Shri, you're gone again.
so sorry for my
Yeah, it's never been this bad. What's going on?
connection. I'm not at a challenge. I'm on the roof
Can't hear you
of
properly. Can't hear you.
building.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, if I can to am I audible now?
No. Sorry about this. Just be a bit patient.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If anybody has a comment or a question,
I would like to say something.
please
What
go ahead.
in my mind that leader is the person who is leading by example. So if one is trying to lead but does not follow himself, so one cannot be the leader, and that is kind of a big responsibility. And at the same time, maybe everyone can be a leader at his own capacity. Meaning, if you know something at your level, whatever it is, then you can be leader to someone in that area, but not going beyond. Just how I understand.
Beautiful. Yeah. Also this question, right? What am I escaping from to lead? Like Arjuna's dilemma was he was trying to escape leading in a way that was meant for him or what it was expected of him. And he was trying to escape that. So what kind of leadership are we avoiding? What kind of leadership are we afraid of? This is a question to ask ourselves. Sometimes it's a very good point about following before leading, being an example. At the same time, sometimes we are afraid of responsibility and therefore we avoid leadership because we feel I'm not ready, and we are thinking I'm not perfect, so I can't help others. But that's another escapism from leadership as well. That's what Arjuna was thinking. How can I become an emperor leader if I'm going to kill my own people? I don't want to do that. So sometimes we're thinking I'm not perfect according to my vision. So I don't want to do things until I'm perfect. And that's actually escapism.
And maybe a fear to be controlling or to appear controlling. because
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
leader associates with that person who tells others what to do, and we sometimes don't want to be that mean person telling others what to do.
Yeah, why? Why? That's a good question. Because is it because we are afraid that people will not follow us? Is it afraid that we will fail in controlling others? Is it because our image will be less than if I don't succeed in leading others? Because sometimes becoming a leader is the most humble position we can take. um, you know what I mean? Like when you're asked to give Bhagavatam class and you sit on the Vyasasan and all your limitations are right there at your face. What you can do is all you can do is that's your limitation. And it's the most humbling experience. And there is nothing to feel proud about it. So similarly, the test of our humility is when we take up leadership. So if we want to become humble, we take up leadership because that's going to make us embrace our limitations.
Yes, but a lot of people become very proud.
Yeah, that can be usually it's a male thing, but yeah, it can happen. But today
How-
it's about humility because Arjuna was humbled. In fact, when Karna, the way Karna was killed, Arjuna was humbled immensely by Krishna. Can you imagine a soldier like Arjuna, such a warrior, when Arjuna was supposed to attack Karna completely out of the rules and rules of the game of the war. And then he would be known forever for breaking those rules because there was no way on earth that Arjuna could defeat Karna. And so Krishna had to create devious means to defeat Karna. That was very, very humbling experience. So sometimes leadership, we are afraid of not leading in the perfect way. But in Arjuna's situation, we could see Krishna humbled him again and again and again. So, my dear Vaishnavis, true leadership is becoming an instrument in the hands of the Lord. I will repeat this again. True leadership is becoming an instrument in the hands of the Lord. It's not about me meeting my perfectionist ideas of what it means to help others or lead others. No, leadership means doing Krishna's will. And it doesn't matter one person, two people, or 2,000 or 2 million people. It doesn't matter the results. What matters is if we have allowed Krishna to work through us. So anybody Krishna works through is a leader. Okay, Neha says, when you're a leader for a long time, you take granted and sometimes exploit people by controlling them. Yeah, that's another form of insecurity. We control people when we do not believe in ourselves. We control people when we do not believe that Krishna has a plan for us and he's acting through us. Control comes when we don't have faith in the Lord. And they say pride comes before the fall. So those people who try to control, manipulate, exploit, or become proud, eventually they fall down and we can see them. We can see that happening.
And
Any other?
what about expectation? For example,
Yeah,
when expectation starts for others, then also it's related with controlling, right? When we expect others for something, for example, being in a disposition, like in some way, expect others to behave in a certain way or do something for us,
yes.
while it's not in their capacity at this time.
Yes, beautiful point. Expectation is also a way that we are thinking of self will instead of God's will. Because when we are working according to God's will, our only expectation is to align to God's will. And when we are acting according to self will, then we think or assume and expect and try to make people act according to our will. Yes, so that's another indication. When expectations are high, it means I'm not aligned to God's will and I'm working through self will. And that's exactly what Arjuna was doing. He was acting according to self-will. He was trying to analyze the situation. But I can't be doing this. I can't be doing that. I shouldn't be killing my grandfather. I shouldn't be. Everything was valid. What Arjuna was saying was all making sense from a materialistic perspective, but not from Krishna's will. Krishna's will was different. So being open means low expectations. When we have low expectations, we are often more happier, even with ourselves. Actually, expectation begins with ourselves. We expect too much from ourselves, and when we do that, we also expect from others. So yes, definitely expectation is another huge factor in this game. Yeah.
It's interesting what you said about leadership as working for Krishna.
Mhm.
I've heard it recently a few times, and it's been very exciting to hear that.
Because ultimately, when you see, there were, Duryodhana was also leading, right? He led everyone to death when he said, he led everyone, he was saying, right? Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Kripascha Samitinjayah Ashwattama Vikarnascha Saumadattistate. And then he was saying, Anyacha Bahava Shura Madharte Tyakta Jivitaha. It means all these great soldiers have come here to give up their life in the battlefield for my sake. These were his exact words. So he was literally, they say that Saraswati Devi went on his tongue and predicted when he said, they have all come to give up their life for my sake. And it said that Saraswati went on his tongue to make him predict that they're all going to die. They've all come here to die. So it's a question of consciousness. You can be leading in Tamoguna, just like Duryodhan, or you can be leading in Rajagun, just like, there are different people. Bhima was a little bit in Rajas. He was also humble. Then there is leadership in Sattvagun, which is very difficult. And then Krishna had to align. And then, of course, there's Krishna's will, which is even beyond Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. So, yes, question. We have how to be in that right space mindset so we understand what Krishna actually wants from us and to not mix it with our own desires. One simple answer is to associate with those who are very keen on acting according to Krishna's will. And another is to keep praying, being humble every day, admitting the fact that I don't know what is the best thing for me. So I do every day this morning prayer asking Krishna, I offer myself to you to please build with me and to do with me as you will, and give me the ability to do your will. And what was the other one? Because I know it in the old English, I can't remember the. Mm, I offer myself to thee to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Remove my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. So this prayer is very, very effective because it makes us very humble at the lotus feet of Krishna and say, I don't know what's the perfect thing, Krishna. I don't know what is your plan for me, but I'm willing to do your will. Today, I'm offering myself to you. Today, I'm willing to let go of self-will. Today, I'm willing to do your will. So these prayers constantly, consistently, humility is the key. Okay, first thing is association, and in the right association, we become humble. And only Krishna can humble our hearts. That's not something we can do. No amount of sadhana, no amount of knowledge, no amount of accomplishments can actually make our heart humble. And Krishna makes us humble. So true leadership makes us humble because we realize we're just an instrument. We have no control whatsoever. That's the beauty of leadership in the mode of God's will. You can say it that way. Yeah, I hope that helps. That's a beautiful question, by the way, Kunjeshwari. Thank you for asking. That's my question every day to Krishna. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But it is very baffling, isn't it, to know what is Krishna's will and what is your will all the
Yeah.
time, thinking
Yeah.
about it. It
Because if
really,
you
really drives me a little bit crazy sometimes.
I mean, if we knew exactly what is Krishna's will, then we would become proud. So Krishna keeps us humble
Yeah.
by not revealing that. So every day, every moment, every endeavor is that humility. I mean, for those of you who are here, who were there this morning in the morning meditation, that was my intention for today, to remain humble. And it really helps, to set the intention for the day, and to ask Krishna to give us that alignment. And it helped me a lot to set that intention, to remain humble regardless of how people treat you, regardless of what people say. It's always like good to set your intention, and humility is a key to the sooner we become willing to be humble, the sooner we can align to Krishna's will. So humility is the key. Yeah. Prabhuji, I think no, it's okay. I have a little bit, so I should be able to.
Not run out.
No, I have 5%, so I'll run. Okay, any other questions?
So what you said earlier about connection between emotional turmoil and leadership, is that like saying that when you are a leader, there's more emotional turmoil?
Not necessarily. Depends on our individual karma, because sometimes some of us are destined to experience emotional turmoil regardless of how much responsibility we take. Whether we take less or more, if we're supposed to experience certain amount of emotional turmoil, we will experience it anyway. But the greatness of service is that you get out of self. So the secret of getting out of self-will is by being of service to others. Because the more we think of ourselves, the more we think of, how to find comfort within my own life, the more we are in self-will. We are always trying to arrange life and other people and their behavior according to our will. But the more we become aligned to God's will, the more we the more we become ready to be of service to others, the more we become aligned to God's will, because then Krishna uses us as an instrument, and then we are free from that self-will. It's a beautiful process. And
Radha Govinda, we can't hear you.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, what
Turmoil,
you're really having problems today.
turmoil
Yeah. Go on.
can cause us to grow when we are channeling our energies to help others, because God's will turns turmoil into growth and transformation. And turmoil in the self-will causes more chaos and causes tornado in our life and in the lives of others. So turmoil is a constant in this material world. It's unavoidable. But what is changeable and what is depending on free will is whether we use the turmoil in self-will or we use the turmoil in God's will. Turmoil is a constant. That's something I wanted to say. Okay. Is that clear? Is that last point clear?
It's clear, but it's hard to digest.
So in other words, the nature of this material world is there shall be turmoil. That is inevitable, okay? That is an inevitable circumstance. But how we use that turmoil to bring ourselves down or to bring ourselves up will depend on whether we give in to self-will and go down, or we align to God's will and we grow up. That's actually a quote right there. Go down or grow up. Go down or grow up. There's only those two ways. Again, I want to remind you, there's this Radhanath Maharaj lecture about the 12-step program. And in that he says, when we realize the helplessness and the hopelessness of our circumstances, we have only two ways left. Unlike in a normal situation, when we are in a great turmoil situation, we have only two things. One is complete, utter misery, which means continue that turmoil into self-will and going down, 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 or like nothing else and there's no other option. We hang on to God's will and we go up, which means like nothing can change, nothing can influence us anymore.
And that's about serving others, yeah?
Yeah. Sorry, what? Say that again, Deepa.
And that's about serving others.
Yeah, serving others is the way. Yeah, serving others is the way to change it, turn the turmoil into transformation.
And that's God's way.
Yeah, but serving others as God, as a service to God, as an instrument of God, not again self-will, because we could also try to rescue others, help others through self-will also. So it's a thin line to be of service. It's a state of consciousness. It's not so much to do with action. It's a state of consciousness. It's the willingness to be open to be God's instrument in God's hands.
And not necessarily about action then?
Not necessarily, not always.
Oh, okay.
It's the willingness.
That's a relief.
Yeah. It's the openness, it's the heart, it's the mind, it's the consciousness. Then actions will come when it has to come. And being of service can be in small ways, that can make a difference. And again, it's not up to us to judge. It's up to Krishna. He engages us, like he engaged Arjuna, he engaged Bhima, he engaged Yudhishthira in different ways. I want more soup.
But like what I said earlier about the word, I think a lot of women would have problems with that leadership word because it's just so, and what you've just said about the fact that it's the consciousness and.
Yeah, because we are very judgmental about that word. We judge others based on our biased opinion of what means leadership. We think of it in terms of quantity. We think of it in terms of results based on our perception. We don't think in terms of Krishna's. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And also it's like external, isn't it? It's out there, sort of very out there.
Yeah, I mean, our consciousness is very external, so we relate to it externally.
Yeah, you've made some really good points.
I have a presentation at the ILS, and this is actually the topic. And so this has been like an introductory practice for me in today's class to touch these important points. And why we get blocked and stuck is because of our preconceived notions in the mode of sattva and tamas. And then that's stopping us from growing, and stopping us from God's will and keeping us in self-will.
Well, yeah, it's all that conditioning we've had at home and in school.
Yeah.
It's like almost like rethinking everything, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Actually, that's in the description of my presentation. It's about rethinking leadership. It's rethinking styles of leadership. Excellent. Thank you. I mean, that was a very good interactive session. Kunjeshwari says, perhaps inner intention is that thin line. Yes, absolutely. And if the intention is, may it be Krishna's will, not mine. Krishna's will and not mine be done. If that's the intention, we can never ever go wrong. And all it takes is that intention. And we don't need to worry every time thinking, is this God's will? Is this Krishna's will? It's that intention. When we set our intention, when we choose that, okay, I want Krishna's will to be done. That's what leads us.
Like for the day. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, setting intention
Daily.
for a day, for the project, for a relationship, whatever it is. But
Oh.
reconfirming that intention that I want Krishna's will to be done in this situation and in the next situation and in this relationship and in this conversation and in this moment. What is Krishna's will for me? So then we are not affected by sorrow or victory or defeat, or we are able to like, okay, what is Krishna's will in this situation? What does Krishna want me to learn? So the consciousness is constantly on Krishna's will. It's not about my satisfaction or my feelings. We're going beyond that. Okay, what is Krishna's plan for me? Yeah, is that helpful?
Yes, very helpful to me. I don't know about the others.
Thank you so much for your participation.
No, it's clear what you're saying. It's a bit, you know what it is. I think it's this feeling of thinking of it differently, and it's kind of takes time, doesn't it, to settle to
Yes.
that. Yeah.
But that's the basics of Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, and also it's easier for me because I've heard you a few times saying that. So so it's written. Thank you. Helpful. It is helpful.
Radha Govinda Dasi.
Yeah.
I would like to ask a question. What is your experience or thoughts about, like, when we do something, or let's say taking leadership in whatever it is? So there will always be some disturbances from outside, and some people may like us or may not like us. And ultimately, we have to develop strong connection with God, so we're not affected by that. So, yeah, according to your view, how is the strength is built so we don't depend on appreciation or defeat, etc.?
Yeah, it's a beautiful point, actually. When Arjuna struggled with that codependency, needing the approval or acceptance. So it's not an easy thing. It's not an overnight process. I mean, what I would say is we keep coming back to these meetings. We keep coming back to this association. We'll keep coming back to the Sangha where we feel nourished, nurtured, uplifted, at the same time corrected in our intentions, and to be patient with ourselves. And again, as I said, that humility that I may not know always what is the best. And how to strengthen that is prayer. Through humility, we get down on our knees and we pray. And with the right intention, we keep reminding ourselves, may Krishna's will and not mine be done.
And also I find that, when to be aware, like, sometimes somebody just says something and you think, oh, I think that was from Krishna. The right thing comes at the right time.
Yes.
And
yes.
So I can feel it.
That's so true. Krishna always sends us. If we are sincere, if we are humble, Krishna sends us right people, right messages, right service. If we are open, then Krishna works through people in our life. He works through us, and it's a beautiful process. Krishna assigns the right people at the right time.
Mm.
And I'm saying that with experience.
Mm.
I would like to, I don't know, is it still there? Yeah. Yeah, I would like to end today's session, and I would like to introduce Krishna's gift to me, Parijata, my dear friend. Yeah, she has seen you.
Haribol, Hare Krishna.
Nice to see you all again. Haribol, Deepa Mataji.
Haribol.
Yeah, we
Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Yeah. So I'm here in the GBC room. Let me show you. It's closed actually. They switched off the lights. Otherwise, I would show you.
Ah,
Where all the GBCs meet. This is Mayapur on the roof.
oh, we get to do Mayapur Darshan today. Yay.
You want to see the prasadam we had today? I can show you.
Probably not a good idea.
Not a good idea. Sorry.
We can't have any. Oh,
Prasadam today.
Looks good.
wish I was there.
You can see here GBC. It's written. I mean, you're seeing the.
Yeah.
Let me turn the camera around. If I turn the camera around, then you can see the. Okay, here it is. Okay, you see this GBC? GBC. It's made with the flower pots.
Oh, that's clever. Yeah. Up on the wall.
And this is where this is like dinner place. The lunch place is huge, bigger downstairs. Tomorrow I will send you.
It's very nice. Mm. But this is why your internet's been troubling you. It's because you're not home. I think we've lost her again. Hmm. Just hang in there. She'll be in a minute. Oh, maybe not. If you want to leave, that's fine. We'll see you next week, hopefully. Or Friday or Sunday. I don't think she's tuning back, Neha. You're welcome. Mm.